And so I was thinking in the beginning that the podcast was top of funnel and that it was going to produce results really quickly. And I think that's very, very unrealistic. And what I realize now is social media is more top of funnel. By the time someone listens to me on a podcast, they already know who I am. Maybe they stumbled across it and instantly fell in love and became a huge fan. This does happen, but it doesn't happen often enough that you can build a business and make money on it quickly. So number one, be realistic and understand that this is a nurturing strategy, not an attraction strategy. It is a long game. You need to be realistic about the time and the money that you will be investing for a period of time. And it may be a lot longer than you'd like to think until you start to get a return. However, if you are realistic, if you have budgeted the time and money, I think it's a fantastic strategy for both sharing your thought leadership, sharing your perspective, sharing your services, your personality, but also meeting other people. You and I would never have met. We wouldn't even known each other existed on this planet if it hadn't been for the fact that we both have podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I love other podcasters because people who like to communicate are my favorite people. People who have something to say, and actually another point about it is that you also have to recognize that even though it's free content, and in some cases you may be paying to produce the free content, which oftentimes husbands and partners have a little trouble wrapping their mind around when you happen to be the female podcaster. They're like, wait a minute, you're paying to give this away? I don't understand. But he's so proud of me now. Whenever we go, we just relocated for the second time in 3 years, as I mentioned. So we don't know anybody here. And what's one of the first things that he tells people is, have you listened to Diann's podcast? And we're in our 60s. And, there's not a whole lot of women in their 60s who are launching a podcast. And so it makes me I'm like a celebrity in my neighborhood now. And I just moved here a month ago, there's a cool factor to that. But you meet really interesting people, and it can lead to lots of other interesting opportunities for content collaboration, for client attraction, and just for creative self-expression. But play the long game, be realistic, have a plan. But here's the last thing I'm going to say, have a plan, but not a really, really rigid plan. Because here's the thing, if you are using your podcast for to build your business, any kind of business, you have to understand that you not only have to produce the show, you have to promote the show. And most people have to wrap their mind around the fact that you're spending time and or money to sell your free podcast. And that's why it's a long game. And that's why it's not top of funnel. It also shouldn't be the only way you promote your business, especially if you're cash strapped, because by the time it really starts to pay you back, and it can pay you back in very rewarding and profitable ways, but not overnight.